Oh, bar, but yes, it
Yeah,
is. It is. It is. I like this one.
which is Destiny,
Destiny.
directed by Fritz Lang. The first time we're covering a Fritz Lang film, I think.
Yeah, yeah. He's been doing stuff for a couple years, but this is the first time we've been able to
Yeah,
get our hands on one of his pictures.
maybe the most famous like German director of this time period.
I would say so.
I mean, he
I would say
directed
so.
maybe the most famous movie of the 1920s, so I don't know.
Yeah,
He's up there.
yeah.
I don't know where to start on this one.
Well, there are a couple of young lovers riding in a carriage into a
Ah,
town.
a carriage.
Um, yeah, true.
Just a regular
And
carriage this time, no
and
phantom.
they pick up a mysterious hitchhiker who happens to be death incarnate, and they bring him into town. The stranger, as he is often called,
Mm.
he decides to he buys a segment that was initially planned to be an annex to the cemetery, and he's like, I'm gonna pay you lots of gold to buy this. So they grant him a 99-year lease on this land. Then he builds an extremely tall wall all around it with no entrances, and all the villagers are, I don't know, they're like, who is this weirdo and why did he build this giant enclosure in our town? And eventually, the young lovers, the man, the fiance, their fiancés, they're at a bar and the stranger is with them, and then all of a sudden he just like disappears and walks away with the stranger, and it turns out that since that stranger's death, he has just died, kind of randomly. The woman is trying to track him down, and eventually she realizes what has happened and basically like attempts to drink poison to like
Hmm.
meet with him and meet with death and try and plead her case to bring her man back. And then what follows is these kind of I don't know, almost Faust-esque kind of is Faust the one where in Faust do they do the fiddle thing, or is that something else? I don't know.
Faust is making a deal with the devil, and it carrying a terrible price.
The competition with the devil kind of
The
thing.
competition with the devil, I don't necessarily think is a Faustian thing.
Some kind of devil story, but
Yeah. Well, yeah. So once she does meet with Death in his sort of death castle.
it's like a candle realm. It's very cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. And he shows her three candles that are about to go out, and it's like, if you can prevent these deaths, I will grant your betrothed's life
Yeah.
back.
And unlike the devil, like death is like sympathetic, you know.
Death was like,
He-
my hands are tied. I'm just here to do God's work. Basically, he's sort
and
of
he's
like,
I don't enjoy it.
yeah,
He's like, I
he's
don't
just like,
enjoy ushering people into the
yeah.
afterworld.
It's like, it's just a job for me. But so he gives her this sort of thing where if she can, I don't really the mechanics of this I was a bit confused by, but each of the three candles is this sort of nested sort of sub story.
Yeah, so there's like a kind of framing story that takes up maybe like a third to a half of the movie, and then there are like three vignettes where the which I think is interesting in that, like, you know, she's in this after she's kind of entered death's realm, she's like beyond space and time.
Yeah.
So like these vignettes are in like seemingly ancient China and it's a kind of Middle Eastern country, undetermined, I believe, and Venice. And the two young lovers are playing young lovers who are like fated to die, or
Yeah.
for the man fated.
The
to
man
die.
is always fated to die, and they're played by the same actors through
Yeah.
all four storylines.
Yeah, it's kind of Cloud Atlas style.
I also wrote down some Cloud Atlas stuff going on. I think it works better
Especially
here
with
than
the
it does in
yellow
Cloud
face.
Atlas. Well, yeah, true. But it's a cool conceit though of like keeping the same actors
Yeah.
throughout.
For sure. I wasn't 100% sure that it was the same actors for a minute, but I was kind of glad to realize that it was, because I think
Yeah.
that works very well.
Yeah. So it's almost kind of an anthology movie with like these three like tragic romances kind of in the middle. And then the sort of wrap up at the end. It is sort of very loosely based on, kind of inspired by a Hindu legend. The story of Savitri and Satyavan, which I was not familiar with, but I read the Wikipedia page of. Which it doesn't really follow it super closely. It's mostly kind of the idea of a man being fated to die and his wife slash betrothed being like, death, no, I will not, this will not stand. And it has a bit of the sort of like nested story stuff in there also.
Mm-hmm.
It also really reminded me of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice from Greek mythology.
Sure.
Of
Yeah.
like going to meet death to like argue for someone's life. And I don't know, it was a cool movie.
Yeah, yeah. I think I liked how it was able to. Phantom Carriage is a very blunt movie. The Kid is a fairly blunt movie. I feel like this is able to like examine some themes in some kind of a complex way. You know, it's taking this like one story and examining it from multiple different angles.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like, you know, it made it rich in a way.
Right. Because yeah, in each of the stories, the man does die. Like she doesn't ever save him, and
she fails. She fails the task that death has given her.
And even the sort of happy ending at the end is they're both dead but happy in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Which is different from like the Hindu legend is like, no, they both get to live. And then like Orpheus Eurydice is like, it doesn't work. Orpheus messes it up.
Yeah.
Whereas this was like
spoilers for Orpheus.
Yeah. Oh man. I was just about to get to that one, you know? So it's like, it does have a happy ending, but it is like, the happy ending is that they're both dead at the end. They're both together, but sort of in a different realm.
Yeah, after she fails this task, she comes back to Death, and he's like, look, I'm trying to do you a favor here. If you can find somebody who still has life left in them to sacrifice,
right?
Then I can bring your man back. So she just like wakes back up, and then she just runs around town going, will you die for me? Will you die for me? Will you die for me? And everybody's weirded out by her.
Everyone is like, no, thank you. Even people like an old folks home, like a medieval old folks home. And they're like, oh, we're so tired of life, and this is just like a burden of being alive, and like I wish we would just die already. And she comes in, and like
she lights up.
Anyone want to die for me? And they're like, no, get out of here, you creep. And so that doesn't work. And then she finds a burning building and decides that she needs to save a child that is stuck inside. And that she can't find someone to die in her place.
So yeah, so she ends up just dying, and then she meets Death, and he's like, "Well, yeah, it worked out. Now you guys can just chill together in the afterlife."
Yeah.
And then the movie ends, and it is like a Phantom Carriage is edgy, right? Like it shows like a guy like pulling a gun out of a desk and like killing himself.
Which was, I did actually really like the way that scene was framed and shot. I thought that was like a very well made scene.
Yeah, that was good. But I feel like this movie is like, it's grim, it's dark, it's macabre, you know?
Yes.
Like Phantom Carriage is too religious and schmaltzy to be macabre.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good distinction actually of like what works about this one that doesn't really work about Phantom Carriage. This one feels a bit more kind of its worldview is a little bit darker, I guess. It feels a little bit less. This movie felt to me, it is a very romantic movie in both the sort of like more literal sense and also in the sort of greater artistic sense. And part of that is that it's like, oh no, these two characters are happy at the end. They're just also dead. The idea that like tragedy is romantic, I guess.
Yeah. The Phantom Carriage is post Dickens. This one's post Shakespeare, maybe.
Yeah. It feels much more Shakespearean. It's also got a lot of sword fights, which is fun.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of action in this movie too. Like there's like chases and fights and climbing up towers and things like that.
And there are some kind of cool effects in this, especially in
Mm.
the sequence that's set in China, because there's it involves like a kind of sorcerer, and so there's like a scene which I thought was, it almost like got me for a second, like how it was done. The scene of like a guy, like the sorcerer creating like an army of like 2 inch tall people,
Mm.
and they're like walking
Yeah,
out from under his feet. I thought that was really well done.
which
And
I
then
can only imagine they just built giant feet and
yeah,
had people walk through them. But yeah, it works really well.
the set design in this is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Especially, I really liked Death's Candle realm.
Yeah. That's sort of the like Death's whole realm is, I think, the most this movie gets into kind of like expressionism. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen this listed as a German expressionist movie, and I don't know how much I agree with that. It's sort of,
Yeah.
it feels kind of like Student of Prague, where it's like it's almost that, but not quite.
Yeah.
And it has a bit of the kind of like fairy tale setting, like it, the sort
Mm-hmm.
of framing story doesn't really feel like it's set in any one time necessarily. It's sort of this generic fairy tale-y kind of
Which we
place.
see from a lot of German stuff, it seems.
Yeah,
Like a lot of German movies seem to be set in this indeterminate time period.
right. Which I mean, we'll get to it later, but that's one of my favorite things about Sunrise, the Murnau movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, another thing this reminded me of, like a newer movie that came out just like last year, is the George Miller movie 10,000 Years of Longing, which also is sort of like nested stories taking place in different time periods and different parts of the world. Um, also makes, and both are sort of about, like, that movie's very much about like, what is storytelling? What does it mean? And I feel like this movie is less about that, but it's the kind of narrative structure of it is somewhat similar.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but nice.
Cool movie. Louis Brunel, who will soon direct Un Chien Andalou later this decade, has cited this movie as like a big inspiration and like the thing that he saw that made him want to make movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quote I have from him. It's something about this film spoke to something deep in me. It clarified my life and vision of the world, which is like, oh, okay.
Yeah, wow.
What a movie for that to happen with. The figure of death in this movie is like a man dressed in black with a big wide brimmed hat,
Mm-hmm.
which I have heard is a like recurring thing that people see when they're either like close to death or if they're experiencing like sleep paralysis. Like it's a big thing with like people who have sleep paralysis. They will see
Uh-huh.
a shadowy figure in a wide brimmed hat, like out of the corner of their vision, which is like, it's like a recurring thing. Is the Hat Man? I saw a short film about it at a festival last year.
Oh, the Hat Man. Okay, so I just saw a meme that was talking about how if you take too much Benadryl, you'll see the Hat Man.
But apparently that is a thing that when Fritz Lang was a child, he was suffering from a fever and was like had a fever dream of this like figure of death, dark figure of death approaching him with the hat.
Wow.
And I think that's crazy that is like just a thing that people see sometimes. Like
Yeah, I
what is it
have no
about a
idea how
wide
stuff
brimmed hat
works.
that just like is universally, people are like, creepy, I don't like this. This is death.
Yeah, interesting depictions of death in both of these movies. The Phantom Carriage goes with the more traditional
You're like
scythe
hooded.
guy.
Yeah.
And speaking of influence, Phantom Carriage was a huge influence on Ingmar Bergman.
Hmm.
He loves Phantom Carriage, which I don't get, but he made a whole movie about like the making of Phantom Carriage.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a television movie by Ingmar Bergman, which I feel like would be worth checking out at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I have some other notes about Fritz Lang as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's like weird stuff with him. He was a weird guy.
Uh-huh.
He might have murdered his first wife. We don't know. She died mysteriously, and there's like I can't find any information about it on the internet. It's like all unsourced like stuff. But there's like one article about, I think, like because of the fame of his later movies, people have sort of dug into like his life, and they found that like, why did his first wife die so mysteriously? And it's like, we don't know. Uh, but he was an Austrian director whose his father was an architect, which explains, I think, a lot about a lot of his movies. He studied,
Intense set design
yeah,
and building inventive architecture, I suppose.
and he started studying engineering in college before switching to the arts. So that's like a lot of his background. His mother was Jewish, even though she converted to Catholicism. And so yeah, he was very much not about Nazism, super not
the,
into it.
the crucial thing the crucial thing that we need to know about every German director from this time is,
Yeah,
did they leave Germany or not leave
yeah.
Germany?
No, he got out of Germany pretty. I think he left in 33 or like just before.
Hmm.
Even though I think his second wife later became a Nazi, and they broke up because of that. Fritz Lang is a much more, he is like a very established like anti-fascist director.
Hmm.
That's like
I mean,
a
yeah,
big thing with him. And I feel like even in this movie, there's like a strong kind of like anti-authoritarian streak. Like in all of the sort of like tragic romances, there's always this sort of like
true.
authoritarian figure that is like keeping people down. Kind of. There's
Yeah.
always like some kind of person in charge, some ruler who's like ruling with an iron fist, sort of.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, I would consider Metropolis to be like a positively Marxist film.
Mhm. Yeah. And he was also one of the German directors from this time period who fought in World War One and was like, "This is terrible. Why did we do this?"
Yeah.
Which is always, I feel like that's any German film we're gonna see from now until much later is gonna be like, yeah, that's what this is about. This is about people ruminating on death because they fought World War One.
Until the moment where it's like, we love Hitler, don't we?
Yeah. Well, we got a little ways to get to there. So
One thing that I didn't include writing on in the news, because we don't want to talk about Hitler too much in the news, is that this was the year that he became the Führer of the Nazi Party.
oh, okay. But that's like, what, they gave him a title. Who cares?
I mean, yeah, but he's like, getting power. It's beginning.
But it's like
is,
it's not going to be for another 12 years that he actually like takes over fully. So I'm like, let it breathe.
yeah.
Let's talk about all the cool stuff that was happening in Germany instead.
Indeed. And there is a lot of cool stuff happening in Germany at this moment, aside from brown shirts and Nazi violence.
Although it is kind of nuts how that was like immediately following World War One. That was already like a thing.
Yeah.
It just took 10 years to like for them to take over.
And this was the year that the Italian Fascist Party was established as well.
Oh god. 1920s. It's for every cool thing there's like 12 just awful things that happened.
Yeah.
But hey, the movies were fun.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you have anything else? I guess one last note that I have on this movie that I thought was interesting is a lot of these movies have been, a lot of movies that I've seen from around this point are making like very determined distinctions between their reels.
Yeah. Yeah, they have chapter headings.
Yeah, exactly. Like movies are often referred to in the press as it's like a 5 reel, it's a 6 reel, as
6
a
glorious reels of thrills and chills. Yeah.
It's like a measurement of length rather than telling you like how long it is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because it was not fully defined how long it is, because it depended on the projection speed.
And even the length of reels, I think, wasn't necessarily a defined thing.
Yeah. But a lot of reels, a lot of pictures, especially European ones, seem to be having these kind of like end of this chapter, beginning of this chapter at the end of beginning of each reel, which certainly makes a projectionist's job a lot easier. This one, I thought it was notable that it was referring to them as verses instead of chapters.
Yeah.
Trying to go for like maybe like an epic poem kind of
thing.
I
think it even at the start of it there one of the intertitles at the very beginning is like a it describes it in that it's like a song of tragedy or something. Like, it puts it in
Hmm.
sort of musical terms. Who knows if that's even just like a translation thing? Like if that's
Yeah.
just the English language release of it? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Like, I feel like when an original English language production uses some very strange wording, I can like hone in on that and laugh at
Hmm.
that. But like when it's a translation, it's hard to really know. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I can't laugh at them saying funny words because it's just up to the translators.
Yeah. Those wacky English translators in the 1920s.
Do you have anything else on this movie?
Nope. I think it was my favorite of the year though. Destiny.
Hmm. I like Destiny a lot, but if we're going into our favorite section, I would probably put The Kid as
Mm.
my favorite.
That's good. I mean, good. One of each.